Hello, and welcome to the For Our Empire podcast. I'm your host, Abby Melcher. And in our podcast, we address the personal and the business issues that female entrepreneurs face in your day to day lives. So today, our guest is the lovely Cece Hart. Hi, Cece.
Hi, Abby. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I'm glad to have you. So Cece is gonna talk to us about mindset, about relationships, and about communicating. Two things really stood out to me. One about how we can build a better relationships with ourselves, and the other is how we can communicate, efficiently and compassionately. So Cece, take us through all this. Like, how do we do this?
Well, you know what? There is no special pill that I could just prescribe that would make it easier for you, though I wish that there was.
I wish
So
also.
it's so true because each individual person has their own mind working. And so when we're trying to interact with each other, we have that sort of against us, but learning how to use that for us is really powerful. And so I studied organizational communications in university, and my favorite part about that was actually the human relationship side and understanding each other. And it's more than just verbal communication, right? It's also nonverbal, and so much is body language and the other person's response to you energetically. And so there's so much that we could get into, but as you said, and that I love talking about, is the relationship with the self. So if we just skip over that and we jump into all the relationships with everyone else, if we don't know how to even communicate with our own self, then we might run into some snags or problems whenever we try to get going with other people. So start within.
Yeah. So we had jumped straight into this without introducing you. So could you introduce yourself a bit to us?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I did just dive off the deep end. So my name is Cece Hart. I call myself an inspiration activist or inspiration sorceress. And my whole goal and passion is just bringing inspiration to people in many capacities. So mindset definitely is a big one. Positive psychology, communication, relational therapy, and authentic relating. I work a lot with food. If you check my Instagram or any of my socials, there's a lot of food because I believe that food is medicine, and that when we're fueling our bodies with really good, healing, powerful food, then it interacts with the rest of our lives too. So it does end up affecting our relationships. It does end up affecting our success. So I focus a lot on food. I feel that that's missing.
Like cooking food or how?
Yeah.
Ooh.
What you put in your body really can change your entire life. And so when I learned that, I thought everybody must know this. We have to tell everybody. Let's scream it from the rooftops.
Yeah. Ooh,
So I know, me too. And so does everybody. And everybody eats food. So that's why it's so important to put focus on. And so I put a lot of emphasis on that. I trained, and now I make beautiful, organic, really healthy food that heals the body from the inside out. So I do that. And I also work for a green tech company, a startup that is all focused on regenerating the planet. And so my role in that is health and wellness, and making sure that everybody is, feeling passionately driven and inspired. And so that's kind of what I get to do for my day to day.
That sounds so cool. That sounds so cool. Oh my God. So okay, once again, an ignorant question coming up right now. So as the inspirational person, are you pump pumps? You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Are you doing that?
Sometimes, but you know what I've recently started really weighing into, and this actually goes into the relationship with ourselves, is that we're a balance of good and bad, spunky and maybe a little bit reserved. We have these polar opposites on both of our sides, on every capacity within us. And so there's a huge part of me being inspirational that wants to do all the cheer and the really hyper happy stuff. And a lot of times I am that way. But I also recognize and honor the other side and the other aspect of healing. And so there's a huge system of energy work, and it's really getting into the trauma and the experiences that we have deep within us, and exploring the potential, let's put in air quotes, darkness or sadness or depression that is stored within us because of that. And so I know that there's an opportunity for healing there too. So sometimes it's like, rah, rah, let's go. And then sometimes it's like, all right, everybody, let's lie down in darkness and talk about what's coming up for you. So it's kind of a merge of everything.
Oh, okay. The lie down in darkness and talk about your feelings. How often at the start of the like your colleagues, how do I phrase this? How often are they like very comfortable or like down to lie down talk about their feelings? Like how often are they comfortable with that, or is there like some sort of resistance?
Everybody is definitely resistant, I would say, because we are from a system that doesn't really support that. And we're taught, especially in a business setting, to hold our feelings back. Now, the project that I'm involved in, we are trying to completely defy all the normal, conventional corporate behavior. And so in this case, it's, oh, you're feeling sad. Well, because you're feeling sad or because you're feeling angry or because you're mad at someone on the team or whatever it is, the most negative stuff that usually you would not talk about, that's my job to bring it out in people. So there is resistance,
Oh,
not in a bad way, but just say
yeah,
to
no,
give them
I'm
a
just
safe
imagining all
space.
the in-office drama right now. They're like, talk to Cece, don't talk to me right now. Like, oh. Just imagining that right now. You're like people are arguing, and then you're like this unfortunate person stuck in between.
Well, I guess it could be that way. I'm not sure. Everybody's global, so we're not always in the same room or setting.
Oh,
So
okay,
that
okay.
part doesn't. So I would say that because of that, there's a lot more capacity to take your own time and space when you might be frustrated with someone. But I do know that there's probably times where people say, let's call Cece, or we need to, and I love that. And I really encourage them to do bring me in whenever they're feeling uncomfortable, because I've tried really hard to cultivate all these different ways to help and mediate. And so it's really powerful for me to get the breakthrough with them where they feel charged and to say, okay, I've expressed myself, because communicating, so much of the time we don't express what we really are feeling and we trap it inside and it comes out later. That's why you have the person that gets mad at their boss for months and then explodes and quits. You see that on TV all the time. Well, I want people to really, if they feel something coming up, to talk about it. And if they need me to be there to be a soundboard or to help them with some sort of program or technique to work them through it, then that's perfect, because the last thing I want is for it to be sitting there sizzling, because humans are so crazy different and they have
I can hold
all
a
these
grudge for two
complex
years.
thoughts. Oh no, can you? Do you think you can?
Oh, I definitely can. Like, do not talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't breathe in my general area right now.
Well, that's a good example then, because so many people feel that way. And I know myself, I used to very much pride myself on how I could hold a grudge too. And I felt the same way. But, it's like holding on to a hot coal. We're burning ourselves by keeping that in. And when I realized that, I thought, that's the last thing you want to hear when you're looking for revenge, or you're looking for, to get back at somebody for harming you. You don't want to hear that you're going to get hurt. But if we just realize that when we're reacting with them, if we can change ourselves, then it so often fixes the problem. And I know it's hard, because it's like, it doesn't fill that need that we have to have that little
Can just
thing.
hit you a
But
bit. Just like throw you into a ditch somewhere. I can calm down.
yeah, but with the ways in which I've learned it, it helps out better in a long-term scale. So it's not quite, John Tucker Must Die. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but it's but it's going to be helpful and healthier in the long run to actually solve the root problem, so that it doesn't come up and bother you again in the future.
Yeah. So something you had said stood out to me. You said something about helping people like walk through that trauma, walk through that depression, walk through that sadness. So So, are you a therapist of sorts?
I think I fall into that role sometimes, but not necessarily. Not necessarily a therapist, but I have my organizational communication degree, which focuses a lot on communicative behavior. So it's comes with that and a
Communication, I
lot of
guess.
experience being in situations with people where they needed someone to speak to, and so I have a lot of relational experience being in communities and in
Oh.
organizations where there is people clashing, ideas clashing, and
You throw a few
emotions just
punches. So, have
we need
any
to
of
get you a
you?
punching bag, I think.
Oh, probably. I know before we transitioned to working from home, we used to have a punching bag in the office, and we were encouraged to use it. Like, there you go. Then we'd have a gym instructor to hold the bag, or sometimes hold those padded gloves. Like, just throw a few punches, get it out your chest, and just relax it. Like the highlight of my Tuesday. like you hold that bag, punch this right now. That was fun. I miss that. So I wanted to ask, have any of your clients or any of your colleagues ever like gotten physical? Or it's just, oh yeah, I forgot there are different parts of the world, so there is no actual physical contact. Ooh, too bad.
Well, when we've been together, when we've had group meetings, there's been a lot of hugging and a lot of like really connected stuff, that because I mean that's the whole philosophy, is that we're not necessarily a company or a corporation. We're a
Community
bunch
of
of
sort?
people, yeah, kind of a community, a movement, people that are cause opposed to the piggy bank of somebody on the top. So that's what makes the project that I'm working on a little bit different.
Okay. So let's talk a bit more about your relationship with yourself. So you said food is a big part of it. So are there like diets, or are there like how does that work, by the way? Like, I'm trying to like,
So
have I read a romance novel about this? I feel like I've read a romance novel about this somewhere. I'm trying to remember what's in there. Like, maybe somebody just sing it to themselves in the mirror, like, you should go and love yourself. I love myself. I guess that kind of thing. Like, how does
well,
that work?
I mean, there's a lot of mindset training that you can do, and it does sound a little bit funny, but it is something that does work on a positive mindset, rebuilding and reframing how you see yourself. You literally can stand in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself, and that's a self-love practice that does have worth, because when you tell yourself something over and over again, your mind starts to believe it. And
Yes, yes.
unfortunately, most of our thoughts are negative. So if you could focus yourself on thinking about
Yeah.
positive things, it takes a lot of effort, but if you do it, it will train your mind to remember those positive things. So I do tell people that if there's something specific, especially that you're having a hard time with, like let's say that you grew up and someone said that you were dumb, because a lot of kids report that their kids tell them that they're dumb. And if you think that, oh, I'm dumb, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, if you think that, that's what programs your brain, and then that's how you relate outwards to your every situation, your business, your colleagues, your friends, your parents, your family. It goes out like that. So if that was your problem, reframing it to tell yourself I am smart, and revaluing yourself by repeating it over and over, that's one way to do it. And you can get into meditation, and that's a mantra that is something that you're repeating to yourself to restructure your mind. That's definitely something to do. But I, like I said, I always bring food into the mix, because most people don't. And when you're eating a diet that is not good for you and causing you inflammation and harm in the body, then it interacts with your mind, and then you have a lot of mental illnesses and depression and sadness and anxiety because of what you're eating in part. So a lot of times just getting people on a more positive path starts with what's on their plate, what they're eating at
Okay.
lunch.
Okay. Okay. So like, what ideally should be on my plate for me to be happy? That a question I need to ask. Like, or do I need to have like a few bananas, a mango, an apple? Like, what has to be on my plate to bring that positive reinforcement?
Well, actually, bananas, because they have so much potassium in them, are said to be a happy food. So it would be great to throw a banana in there, from time to time if you could. But I focus a lot on plant-based organic foods. And the reason why is because they're from the earth. And if you look at it in an energetic level, when food is grown from the soil, there's water coming in to water it, there's sun coming into it to grow it, all of these elements that are natural environment bringing this food, there's huge capacity to come into the body and change the body on so many levels. And so, it's something that we don't think about, but I say if you go to the store and you buy boxed foods or foods that are on the shelf that have a really long shelf life, that are processed and who knows, like lots of chemicals to keep them from going bad, then you have to think about what's that doing in your stomach. Is it breaking? There's a lot of weird studies. If you guys want to look up something fun, if you Google like food for that fast food that they've looked at it for months and it just doesn't break down. And you have to think if we're putting that in our stomach, it's not giving us the energy.
Creepy.
Yeah, I know. And it's not giving us the energy that we could be having. So we think that it's normal to act like this and to be tired. A lot of people have skin conditions and mental fog and all kinds of different problems that they report. But when you start to change your food and maybe just add in, maybe you add in only a banana a day, whatever it is for you, when you start to add in all these healthy, vibrant, alive foods, you can really see a big difference. And then, that would be first step to really change things up and then have a better relationship with yourself, because you know that, okay, this is my body. If I had a really nice sports car, I wouldn't drive the sports car to a restaurant and say, hey, can you put some oil from the fryer in my car and I'm going to drive away. But we don't really think about what we feed our body. We just feed it whatever will go in, whatever is around, whatever is cheapest, whatever is available. And so I say, if we treated our body like this really cool, expensive sports car, we would think about what we put into it first. We would drive the extra mile to go get the good gas or whatever, so let's just have some more love and compassion and respect for our body so that it can then really drive us as fast as possible instead of just sputtering out.
I know the processed commercial packaged food tends to be on the cheaper side of things, which is more budget friendly for a lot of people, and then having to sort of like create a custom meal plan might be a bit more expensive. So are there any budget-friendly meal plans that you have or that you recommend?
I love that you brought this up. It's something that I like to say too, is that first of all, I really, really advocate for people growing food if they can, because you can take seeds from like bell peppers or tomatoes and cucumbers and things like that, and you can grow them in your windowsill. Or if you have a little piece of land or like a deck or a veranda or a roof upstairs in an apartment building, you can grow some food and that would be helpful. But there's a lot of food that's still natural, still grows from the earth, but it's cheap, like rice. Rice is, used all over the world, and you can get organic rice that's got so much nutrients in there for you. And beans is a really cheap source of protein, and the protein gram for gram is usually higher than animals. And so if you think about that, you could actually save money by changing your diet if you know where to start. And so I know that can be really difficult, but if you're eating the right things, you don't have to eat the fancy, like crazy organic food in that special section in the grocery store that nobody can afford. No. I mean, definitely not. I make a lot of my own food myself to keep the costs down. And so, that's what I would advocate for, is like nuts and buying things in bulk. If you buy things in bulk, then you can really get the price down too. So it doesn't have to, I mean, even some of the boxed foods that are supposed to be healthy are super expensive. So It's just just
Yeah.
looking into what you can afford and then creating
Yeah.
a meal
Okay.
plan for that.
Okay, so in regards to like your relationship with yourself, we've talked about the food aspect of it. So are there any other aspects to on how to build a relationship with yourself apart from food? Is there any other thing of any exercise or any activities that maybe types of people we need to surround ourselves with? What can we really do to build that relationship with yourself?
So I think that self-care is so important. So yes, there's the food element. Exercise is really important as well, because you can eat as healthy as you want to, but if you're not moving your body ever, and we're just sitting on our computer for so much of the day,
Yes.
then your body's not going to be able to move and flow in the way that it's designed to. And so I always tell people, even if your job is that you sit at the computer for hours and hours a day, even if you just move around, you move your shoulders, make sure that your posture is straight and that your spine's aligned, just things like that, just being aware and moving your neck in circles, getting up as best as you can, moving the hips, because the hips carry so much tension
Ow,
from
ow,
sitting.
ow.
Oh, did you hurt yourself?
Yeah, it's been like a weird noise as I try to twist.
See? And you because your body is so used to probably just sitting in this position. I twist a lot. I get up. I put an alarm on my phone, so I actually will get up every half an hour, 45 minutes, and walk around and do different exercises with my arms and move my legs, because our body is designed to move and we have such a stagnant culture. So that's really helpful to remember. And I know that COVID is weird because a lot of people are stuck at home,
Yeah.
but I say go up and down stairs if you have stairs. If you don't have stairs, get a chair, walk, like step up
Step
and
up,
down
step
off the
down,
chair.
step up, out.
But just to get your blood pumping, just to get your heart, a little bit of exercise, that kind of stuff is really game changing. And if you want to look at it from a perspective of how will this serve my business? How will this make me more money? Well, if your blood's flowing, your thoughts are going to be clearer. And so by doing that little bit of exercise, you're probably going to make more money. It's possible. It's possible. So let's try that. And and mindset is just, I care about myself and my body and my life. You have this one body, so if that's the case, and you treat it right, just like you would that sports car, then you can have a longer, healthier, more successful and vibrant life. So if you know that there's something that really bothers you, if you feel something that hurts your heart, like I'm never going to be successful, or I'm always going to have this disease, or whatever you tell yourself constantly, if you just listen inside your head to those replays and you hear something a lot, start to tell yourself the opposite. Change the story so that your brain knows that that's not true anymore.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that was true for you in the past, but you can change it. You really can change it. And it's just about repeating and reframing that mindset. So that's really important. And I always advocate for now I've just lost my train of thought because of this, but meditation. Sorry, there we go.
Yeah.
Meditation. And you can do it before you go to bed, or even something that I love is putting a sleep meditation on while you're sleeping. So you don't have to do any work, and it's just like lovely sound in the
Like the
background.
lazy man's guide to meditation. Just play the music, go to bed.
Yeah,
I tried
exactly.
that.
And how did it go?
Uh, I okay. So for me to sleep, I need absolute darkness, and I need like zero noise for me to sleep. So like the slightest light, I would not be able to sleep. It will take me a lot longer. So I tend to like just cover myself from head to toe, so I get like that pitch darkness for me to sleep. And so when I try to sleep with I used Calm. Then I used this meditate app. Then there was this is it a rain sound or like an ocean like shh. Then I just kept listening to it. So I tried reducing the volume and I go back to bed. But my bedroom was silent, so I could hear it very loud. I kept reducing like, it's not worth all this stress. Just ended it there.
So it was distracting you
Yeah,
instead
it
of,
was so I couldn't sleep.
Well, that sound obviously didn't work for you. It's so different and so personal for everybody. There's some meditations that talk to you and they drift you into a hypnosis state where they're telling you to go to sleep, and that works for some people and not others. There's different frequencies that are for different healing factors, and they work for some people and sometimes not. But if it doesn't work for you and it doesn't help you fall asleep, then don't maybe try it in the morning. If it keeps you awake, then try it in the morning. But I just think that training our mind to just calm down a little bit and to relax so that we can just stop nagging at ourselves inside our head. I have to do this. I have this huge list of things to do.
I actually keep a notepad and a pen next to my pillow. So when I wake up and I have an idea, like, write this down. Sometimes the handwriting comes out very wonky and I'm not quite sure what I wrote, but at least I stop thinking about it.
Sounds like you have a lot of ideas inside your head that are keeping you awake.
Yeah, it is. So I actually factor that in. So I try to go to sleep for 9 hours, except I know that for 2 hours of that time, I'm not really sleeping. It's just and eventually I fall asleep.
I wonder if a guided sleep meditation would help you. Maybe give it a try and see how you feel.
How does that work?
They'll hypnotize you to sleep in a way. So they're going to talk to you, and over time, they'll first start off explaining what they're doing, and then the whole idea is that what they say goes into the mind and then gets the mind to calm down and fall asleep.
Oh, and so sleep meditation. Let me check out. I might try that.
Yeah, try it.
Meditation, because the whole the ocean breeze, the rain, that was not working out. That did not work out for me. It just I could barely sleep, and no matter how much I reduced the volume, it was still too loud.
Yeah, well then that's definitely not the right sound for you. But like I said, there's so many different sounds and noises, and if none works for you, sometimes white noise works for people, like that static noise. Sometimes people really like that. So, but
going static noise.
Yeah, going to sleep is really important for your health and for your relationship with yourself, because if you're not getting enough sleep, then your body can't regenerate. And so then it's just it's just operating at 50%. It's like you had your battery only half charged.
I actually wake up, I don't sleep enough, I get a migraine.
I'm
just cracking the whole day.
So there's a lot of different things that you can do to encourage sleep naturally. So, you can put lavender spray on the pillow. Lavender is super calming, and you can have lavender tea or before you go to sleep, or chamomile. These are really relaxing herbs that people use a lot for going to sleep. Valerian is also another herb, but it's a little bit stronger. That can be used in a tea or tincture to go to sleep as well.
I have a lavender incense, and I tend to drink this orange tea before I go to bed, because I like the smell of the citrus, and it's so relaxing.
Do you know if the orange tea has caffeine in it? Because you should check and see.
I don't take caffeine.
Okay, good. Because a lot of teas, they have the black tea in it with the caffeine, and then it keeps people awake. So when they drink it before bed, they don't realize that they're accidentally keeping themselves up.
It just makes me tired after drinking it. I feel tired and fuzzy on the inside and kind of warm. And so I have literally no energy to do anything. You're exhausted. So you go lie down and sleep. So it's what I take when I need to trick myself into getting tired enough to sleep. I just drink the tea.
Well, then that's perfect.
But after a while the warmth goes away, and then your thoughts are there. That's why the notepad is still on my side.
Well, that's why I wonder to see if the hypnosis would work for you, because
I'm gonna try that. Maybe that'll work out for me. We've turned into an Abigail therapy session. Let's move back a bit, back to the podcast. Okay, so now we've talked about mindset, and we've talked about that relationship with yourself. That saying positive stuff to yourself, sleeping better, eating better. Now let's talk about how we can communicate passionately and efficiently. So what does that really mean?
Well, one thing is that everyone communicates differently. It's my wish
Yeah.
that when we're children, that they taught us all one way to communicate, so that we could understand and then be able to
Yeah.
reasonably communicate with each other. But there is a communication style that I really love, that I use a lot, and it's called nonviolent communication.
Okay.
And I learned it in California, from the founder, Marshall Rosenberg. And nonviolent communication focuses on how you're feeling and expressing that to the other person, but
Okay.
not blaming. So often I hear people say, "You made me angry," if they're trying to express themselves, or
Yeah.
"You made me sad," right?
Yeah.
And they put that, accidentally puts the blame on the other person,
Okay.
because in the moment when you're triggered with your emotion, you think that the other person did it to you, right? But what's actually happening is it's coming up for you. The other person might have triggered it, but it's something inside of you that is being activated. So nonviolent communication teaches to express your feeling, but not blame the other person. Because when you blame the other person, what happens is they always, unless they're a saint, or unless they're very, very good at communicating, they get mad because they say, "This is not my fault that you're
Yeah,
mad. It's
it's
not
you're
my,"
the one. It's like
yeah. And
I think it's like the reply is like, that's not like your personal business. Like, I made you angry. That's your problem. They tend to throw that back at
exactly.
you.
That's what happens. And then you get a fight and an argument because someone says it's your fault. They said it's not my fault. And then you have this arguing of them trying to win the battle, who's right, who
Yeah,
is right.
yeah.
But when you use nonviolent communication, you're able to express what's going on for you,
Okay.
blame the other person.
Oh,
So I feel sad,
okay.
when this happened, because whatever my reason is, but nothing to do with you. Like, yes, I'm sad now in our relationship, but then you ask the other person to repeat back to you what they heard, which is really crazy, to be the one mediating this and watching this happen, to hear what another person hears another person say. So
It's
often
like
isn't
two
what they
different
said.
things. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Ah.
exactly. But when you really work with this method specifically, you'll hear more often the person that has been told how the other person feels understands more. They say, "Oh, I understand. Now my empathy is triggered. You're feeling sad. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with me, but I'm here for you." And so you see, it's so quicker for people to come to an agreement and let the conflict settle faster when it's that way. Because as soon as someone gets blamed, that's when it's like, "Cece, come here, like, help
Uh,
me," you
uh,
know.
okay. Okay. I don't know if this sounds ignorant or anything. So, like, let's say I'm sad or I'm angry. So, do I say I am sad or do I say I feel sad?
Well, you can say either of those, as long as it's not "you made me sad."
Okay, okay, okay. So
So you're
let's
just taking
see.
ownership for your own feeling. We
Okay,
just
okay,
did.
okay, okay. And then when I add the because parts to that feeling, um, like, okay, so I'm feeling sad. I am sad because I mean, you made me sad in the first place. So how do I put that in there?
But that's the hard part. This is
Yeah,
the hardest part, is that maybe someone will say the first part right, but then you're right. Then they say, "Because you made me," and then it starts
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole
You
thing
did make
again.
me sad. So, like,
But
am
but
I?
that's the thing. Wait, no, no, no. They didn't make you. They can't make you. It's just that what they did triggered something in you that you didn't like.
Yeah.
So you would say, "I feel sad, like, when this happened," and then you say, it's important to connect a need to it. So whatever your need is, and that part's hard for people to find out what they need. So, I feel sad when this happened because I have a need for security. I have a need for
Oh no, that's not what's possible.
whatever.
Like, oh, I'm analyzing myself.
Well, that's the thing. But that's what's really important, is if
Yeah.
you're able to analyze yourself, or if you have someone like me or someone else that's trained in this to help you, when you understand what's really going on in your life, in your mind, in your world, then you realize that it's not about them, and that conflict doesn't happen, because now you're talking to yourself, which is what you and I were talking about when we very first got on this call, is the conversation with yourself. Talking to yourself can spare you a whole bunch of heartache and anger and frustration and sadness and conflict with other people, because you're able to identify in your mind what's going on for you first. And then if you want to explain it to someone else, you can. If you want emotional therapy, or if you want to hug.
I take responsibilities for your action. Like, your action led to this trigger, making me feel this way. And you need to, like, at least feel some remorse.
Well, when you can confidently explain to somebody what your emotion is, then they do usually give you the empathy that is really what you want. You just want to be heard, is really, at the bottom of it is what you want, because you're having this feeling, which is justified in your mind, in your experience, and you want someone to recognize that. But they'll recognize it more positively if you don't blame them for
point gotten. Okay, I shall try to practice that, put that to action, and not blame someone, maybe, and try not to hint at it so obviously. See what we shall see if there'll be a change. Okay, so can you tell me a bit more about so we know Cece, the inspiration sorceress. So tell us a bit more about your business.
Well, my business is all about inspiring people in different capacities. So, health and wellness is huge for me. I believe that if we were healthier, then we would be happier, we'd be more successful, we would be in better relationships. But I believe that because so many of us are unhealthy and we don't even realize it, that it's affecting our ability to show up in the world. And so, it's my passion to just figure out what someone needs and be there for them in whatever way that is. If it's teaching them nonviolent communication because they blame people a lot or they're getting angry a lot, then
like it's
maybe
aimed
it's
at
that.
me, but okay.
I'll tell you what, Abby, if we need to get you a punching bag and work on some stuff, we can do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had to walk through all of that. I shall get there. Okay, so if a listener wants to like work with you to sort of like, especially the non-violent communication part or the eating part, so how can they get in touch with you? How can they work with you? How can they really change themselves?
If there's, if someone's listening that really feels that they want to change in whatever level, or any transformation that they want to have, you can reach me on my website at Cece Hart. It's CECEHeart.com. My handle on Instagram is Inspiration Sorceress. And
let's follow you right now.
Okay, and my Facebook page is Inspiration Sorceress as well. So you can reach me anywhere there, but if you go to my website, it's LinkedIn, so you can connect with me in all the ways. And yeah, if there's anybody that just feels that something that we've mentioned here, that brings something up for them and they'd like to learn more.
Is this you?
That's me.
Okay.
Yep. I'm just going online now, everyone. For those listening, I've finally agreed to put my stuff online. So now I have all the socials.
All the food. Just forget it. Oh, macaroni.
Yeah. So
and avocados. It looks cute. It looks very cute. It looks like a food blogger sort of thing, like food aesthetics.
Yeah, I really believe that healthy food can be delicious too. And so I put a lot of energy into that first and foremost. But I'm going to be showing more than just food on my Instagram. It's just, that's what I was focusing on when I first started going.
Okay. That's nice though. Okay, so before we round up, anything else you want to add? Any more tips you want to give us?
Well, you know what? If you are feeling like any of this sparked something in your heart, I encourage you to check out nonviolent communication or authentic relating. These are really powerful ways to start just researching how, and you can look on YouTube too if you don't want to read something. I know sometimes it's like, read, come on, like Cece, I don't want to read. So check out YouTube and see, because it can really change your life. And of course, I think always coming back to diet and just our mindset and our exercising patterns. If we can really respect the body that we're in, it's gonna it's gonna fall into all aspects of our life, and I believe that we'll have like a much better empowered experience. So I wish everybody listening health and wellness, and if there's any questions that you might have that you want to ask me about, I am always open, so feel free to message me on my website or any of my socials.
Nice to have you. It's just nice to learn. I'm going to try out the sleep meditation and the static noise to see if I can sleep better. Probably going to try the lavender scent. I have an incense somewhere, but I've not used it in forever. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try the non-violent communication of not blaming somebody. Let's see how that works out for me. So yeah, that should be fun. Although it since I've sort of like social distance from everyone, and I have not had like any physical like human communication in almost 2.5 months. Yeah, that has been very peaceful. I'm not seeing your face right now. Very peaceful. So, yeah, it's been fun. Plus, our lockdown just got extended for 30 more days. So that means I'm seeing nobody for 30 more days.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
lots of time to practice then.
Yeah,
practice on
yeah.
yourself.
Like, whew, patience, come upon me. So, that'll be fun to try out. Oh my gosh, it was fun having you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is a whole bunch of different a little taster of a whole bunch of different ways that I hope inspire your life. And so, I really believe that all these different things can help in a little way, and then altogether it makes a big splash in the life. So
patience, I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find my cow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, it was nice seeing you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.